Good line when he asked you something about calculating if you score first, you win 83% of the time or something.
Yeah.
And Coach Cummings said, we don't have to do, because he got that number from LSU.
Uh-huh.
Coach Cummings said, we don't have quite as many people at LSU working on that kind of stuff.
Right.
He said, to make it to 12-year-old son to figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. You got to maximize the strengths of your players, of your staff, and the staff that you don't have, and also of your family. You know, so he's a pretty sharp dude. Yeah, he actually is the one that pointed out to me after the game against Western. He said, Dad, you know, the last 3 games against Western Kentucky in the second half, they haven't scored against us. Going back to every time we played them, I was like, I did not know that. Yeah, and then he also, the other thing, you know that he's all in whenever he talks about, Dad, we were really good in the red zone defensively. We were 0 for 3 in the red zone.
Didn't he notice their quarterback was over the line?
He noticed that. Yep, he noticed basically everything that is a borderline call that goes against us. They notice it, and they're quick to point it out post game, and they want to know what's going to happen. And they were very excited whenever the white hat Rory was announced that about Tuesday. Whenever they announced the officials for the game, and we get it. And I told them that because that's their favorite official, because he gave them a flag before a game against UTEP. So yeah, they really like Rory. He's but.
Hat tip you in town for racing us.
Well, yeah, that's the positives we're sharing, Teddy. There's a lot of other things that are challenging about both of them, but they're great to have around. They were a lot of fun. So.
All right, everybody, here with head football coach Sonny Cumbie. Coach Cumbie coming off a big homecoming win over Sam Houston, 55-14, no rushing 426 yards. Just kind of wrap that game up for us, then take a look at Delaware, then we'll take some questions.
Yeah, I think just, complete effort. I think it's our best performance that we had as a football team, certainly in the first half on offense, defense, and special teams. And, I think our sideline was great. And I would also like to say that I think in the first half and our student section was incredible. And there's a couple of things that really stand out at the 60-minute mark. When our guys, our skill guys, when they first go out to stretch, it's the first time that I can remember when they first go out to stretch, just from the standpoint of all of the cheers that our fans and our students gave our kids an hour before the game. And I think those things matter. And then when you watch the game, on Monday we have a team meeting and we watch the clips, and you see the end zone shot of the DAC, and you see that it's full. You see the sideline shot from the coach's copy of the student section, and you just see, how full it is. And I think that our players definitely felt the energy of our student section. I thought it was a tremendous crowd from that standpoint, and was really proud of our students for coming and supporting our kids and their peers, the guys they get to share the classroom and the campus with. And I think that when we win football games, we all win, and we certainly all feel the loss, and we all feel the sting of that, campus-wide across the community and across North Louisiana. But hopefully we all also feel the thrill of victory that we had Saturday night, or Friday in this case. But hey, great news is we're back on Tuesday, and it really is a Tuesday. I don't have to try to convince our players that it's a Tuesday. So we're glad that that's it. But I think there was a lot of great individual efforts on Saturday in our last game, a lot of great team effort. Our offensive line was physically dominant. They played really, really well. Our tight ends blocked extremely well. Eli and Bachler made plays with the football. I think that defensively, we talked about it a little earlier before we started, but we were 4 of 15 on third downs, 1 of 6 on fourth downs, and then 0 for 3 in the red zone. We scored on defense again, I believe, for the 6th time this year. And so I think continue to create takeaways. And then, as with losses, and wins as well, you take the information, the things that you did really well, and you want to continue to be better this Tuesday than we were last Tuesday. And then things that we need to improve on offense, defense, and special teams, we'll go to attack that. We already had last night, and then we'll go to attack that this afternoon. And it's going to be a huge challenge, at Delaware. I think, I showed, we talked about a little bit about the weather, but it's going to be about what it is today, right now in Ruston on Saturday at kickoff at 3 p.m. Eastern time. And so our kids are looking forward to the challenge. Their quarterback, Nick Minacucci, he's tops in the country in throwing the football. He's one of the best quarterbacks, not only in our league, but in the country. He makes plays with his feet. He's very accurate, quick release. I think their offensive line, in terms of the offensive line that our guys have gone against in a game, is probably one of the best. They're very well coached. Their running backs are big. They're great in pass pro. And I think their receivers have a great understanding of what they're trying to get accomplished in terms of running routes. And so it'll be a great challenge. Ryan Carty, the head coach, has done a great job. He calls the plays. And I think that you can tell that he and the quarterback are very much in sync, from the standpoint of what they want to do and how they want to attack defenses. And then I think you look at them from a defensive standpoint, they have two great safeties in KT Say. Mysone, number 2, Mysone Pollard, is a great kick returner as well, and is one of their better safeties. And they have one of the top linebacking core, I think, minus ours, in our conference. And so it'll be a great challenge for us. One of their top receivers is one of their best punt returners. He's taken one of the house, so we'll be challenged on special teams as well. And I think that for us, it's an opportunity for us to continue to improve as we go through this season.
The last 4 games are on the road, and they're pretty long road trips. Just what are the challenges of that, especially at this point of the season when guys aren't 100%?
Yeah, it's we've been fortunate from the October standpoint of playing 3 games in a month in terms of our rest, and so we've been very fortunate. Our guys played on a Friday, and so going into this one, I think I feel really strong about it because we had Saturday, Sunday off. Monday, we came in, we had a walkthrough and meetings. I think after this, it'll really start to be a challenge. We have to be very smart in terms of our plan that we have as coaches, what we ask our kids to do from a physical standpoint, from a rest standpoint. Fortunately for us, this is a 3 o'clock game. 2 o'clock Central Time, so hopefully barring any setbacks travel-wise, we'll get back at a decent hour. And then we have to be really smart, as we go to Pullman, next week, and then come back from that because that'll be a late trip, and then we play Liberty at home and then finish at Missouri State. And so, we had 3 of the first 4 games of the season were at home, and we capitalized on that. And I think it's very important that 3 of the last 4 games of our season are on the road, and we have to capitalize on that and being a mentally tough team and making sure that the football team that played Friday night will travel Saturday.
You and the staff, I guess, diagnosed over the last couple of years, maybe like what specifically on the road you guys maybe just haven't done effectively to kind of make up some more road wins? Take these final couple weeks?
I think my memory of the road is I think back to Western Kentucky last year, where our team at the end of the season really galvanized and came together and took a hard-fought victory against those guys on the road. I think back to the UTEP game earlier this year, where our guys, that was probably the furthest trip that we had to take, minus this one up to this point, and our guys were able to really overcome some adversity in the game and then come out with a victory. And then those are the information that I have from that is that the preparation is the same on Tuesday, as it is whenever you played last week versus Sam Houston, and so, I think the situation at Kennesaw, we didn't handle adversity well as coaches and players. I think we've progressed from that. We've learned from that. And so, each week is a new challenge in terms of the opponent. And, I think for us, it's just making sure that we have a great Tuesday practice. We improve in the areas that we've got to get better at on offense, defense, and special teams so we can carry that out on Saturday, at Delaware.
Is there really added pressure off where you inside involved this week to play competitive football thing in an environment that's staying in the team we've never seen before?
I think that our guys enjoy playing football and practicing football regardless of where it's at. And so I think they're coming off of a performance. Our team is where we feel like we played complementary football pretty well on Saturday. Special teams, I think that there's a couple of things that we've got to clean up there in terms of our field goal operation, which that should always be automatic. A couple of decision-making things that we have to do better at in terms of returning the ball. And then I think, defensively, we gave up more yards than we wanted to, but they scored 14 points. And I think that we jumped on them pretty quick on offense. And I think so complimentary-wise, I thought we started the game well. And we've got to continue to do that because the challenges are always different, in terms of your opponent and then the venue. But I think that a lot of those things are they become an issue or they become something that the kids really think about or talk about if we make them an issue. And for us, the biggest thing is to have a great Tuesday practice and to continue to be better this Tuesday than we were last.
When it comes to bowl eligibility, is that something that you guys talk about, just the fact that you're 1 win away from accomplishing one of your goals of the season?
Yeah, I think there's an awareness amongst our team, of course, that we're sitting at 5-3, and we want to, much like our opponents, you want to end the month, at 9-3, and before you get to 9, you got to get to 6, and so I'm sure at Delaware they have the same goals and the same thing as Wazoo next week, and so there's an awareness of it, but again, it takes a lot of work to win football games, and so we're going to do our best here today on Tuesday.
One game specifically with Clay and Mary, I guess, over the last couple of weeks? How have you kind of seen them just like, I guess, elevate and take that run to?
Yeah, I think Clay is definitely I think the last 3 weeks is really elevated, and I think he's really practiced really well, very consistent, and been a product of his preparation in terms of his practice habits. And then he goes out on Saturdays, and again, offensive line did a great job, tight ends, receivers. There's everyone has a hand in it when you have explosive runs and an output like we had. But he did a really nice job of making people miss an open field. He was able to show his long speed, on a couple of plays that he bounced. And I think so his preparation for those last 3 to 4 weeks has been really consistent, and it's continued to elevate. And I think it's important that if he doesn't go out and rush for 150 this week, that he gets better. And sometimes better doesn't always mean you're going to get. We'd love it for it to be 150, 200, but they also see film. They also know that 4 is a really good back. So how do we slow him down? And so that's where you have to be better and better as a player and as an offense. And then I think with Wiggs, his is the same thing. Is if he practices consistent and with great effort and attention to detail, that's typically how he plays. And so that's where we've got to continue to push him in terms of his consistency. And I think it was great with Andrew Burnett to see the big run, the long speed that he had. And I think we have 3 guys in the backfield that you feel really good about giving the football to. And we feel good about giving it to AG. It's just, 4's played really well. And, I think that AG, he does a lot of things that don't show up on the stat sheet. And he's a very selfless teammate. He's a very physical teammate. He gives us a lot of great reps on special teams, winning reps on special teams, and we ask AG to do a lot of things that are very difficult from the standpoint of you got a guy that's, he's not the biggest. He's definitely pretty strong, but he's kicking out defensive ends on power. He's leading up on linebackers, and he does it willingly, and we win because he does that. He wins that battle, and so all 4 of those backs have done a great job of understanding what their roles that they've created for themselves are, and then living into those on a weekly basis.
Their quarterback top passer in the league. I mean, just how does this defense go about trying to limit the explosive plays you can make on Saturday?
I think that when we're in coverage, the eye discipline in zones and getting to our zones, and I think when we're in man, we have to understand that we have to stay with our receivers because he'll do a great job of extending plays, moving up through the pocket with his eyes downfield, and he makes a lot of throws on the move. I think they do a really nice job in terms of changing up their protections. In terms of moving him, they'll slide protection. They'll drop back, they'll quick game, and they'll play action. And so I think they do a really nice job of keeping you off balance in terms of trying to attack their protections. And I think in pass coverage, for certain, the discipline for us at times we may have to cover because when you rush 3 and you drop 8 in the coverage, you're going to have to cover for a while. And so for our guys to understand that, and that'll be a challenge for us this week.
All right, Coach. Thanks for talking.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. Yep. Enough said.
All right, everybody. Next up, we have tight end Eli Finley. If everyone's ready, we can go ahead and open it up for questions.
Eli, I guess kind of to Coach's point, how do you guys carry the momentum from Friday night to go on the road this week?
I mean, it starts off with practice, like he said. We just got to carry the momentum week through week, and it's really just the same mindset as he said. I mean, we got to have a good Tuesday practice today. We got to stack it and have a good Wednesday practice tomorrow. And it's just the same mindset week by week. If we stack our days and we know what we got to do on Saturday, we'll get it done.
You mentioned facing adversity and overcoming that as an offensive leader. That happens potentially on Saturday. What's going to be your message to the guys working through that?
I mean, it's really just kind of pushing through together. I mean, we all got a job to do. It takes 11 players each play to make a play go. So, I mean, it's kind of just pushing those guys and then making sure we all do our 111.
Coming off the best game of the season, it feels like offensively you guys are really clicking on all cylinders. Does it feel like, up to this point you guys have had your best game last week?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think we're getting better every week. I feel like that's a testament to, how close we are as a team, as an offense. I mean, we all love each other. I mean, and we're all out there fighting for each other. Coach Franklin says it's the best. We got at least 5 or 6 guys who will get a ball, each play or like each opportunity, each drive, and so like you got to block for that guy just like he's going to block for you when you get the ball in your hands. And so that mindset kind of keeps us driving on offense.
Next 2 weeks, this team is going to be, doing more. How different is it going to be for these athletes experience, state of the environment being in the middle?
I mean, I think we've been to a lot of different environments and a lot of different places, but it doesn't really affect the game of football. I mean, we go out there, we got to respect our opponent, but every week it's a nameless, faceless opponent, and it's really us that it ends up on. And so if we have a good week of practice and a good week of prep, I think we go out there and play our game. It doesn't matter what the other team and their environment is.
How much is the bowl eligibility talk maybe circulating around the locker room?
I mean, yeah, it's been around the locker room, but at the end of the day, I don't think at the beginning of the season a team strives to celebrate 6 wins. I mean, it's definitely something we notice, but that's not our goal, is to get to 6 wins and we stop playing football. I mean, we got 4 games left after that. So, I mean, the goal is to go 9, and so that's kind of where our mind's at.
Seems like the last couple games you've really been effective just getting up the scene to kind of a second level. I guess, like, what's been the dynamic with Coach Franklin as far as kind of using you, like, all over the field, not just kind of in your arm guy, I guess?
I mean, it's more so kind of what the game gives. I mean, we're gonna move the ball, and then I'm pretty much where those gaps are because we're running the ball so efficiently is where I'm gonna try to fill in and get the ball.
All right, Eli. Next time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, everybody. Next up, we have defensive back Cedric Woods. If everyone's ready, we can go ahead and open up for questions.
Like Coach mentioned, obviously Delaware's quarterback leads the league in a lot of categories. I guess what you've seen on film that you guys are going to do well against him.
Yeah, he's a really good quarterback. He's going to be a great challenge for us this week. We always look to embrace, challenges from great opponents. Well, like Coach mentioned, we're going to have to play with really good eyes, especially when we're dropping 8 in those zone coverages. And so it's going to be really exciting, and when we do rush, and bring pressure, we have to play really good man coverage. So it's going to be a great challenge for us this week.
Against more of an air raid offense, I mean, does that make you guys even hungrier to get that take-it mentality?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Had a coach one time mention, we play air raid teams, it's like basketball on grass. So it's always fun. You get like a lot of opportunities for the ball to be in the air, and like I mentioned, it's a great quarterback, great receiving core, great offensive line. So we're looking forward to the challenge this week.
Right now, understanding there's still a lot of teams, in that conference race, and I feel like this team is still kind of, coach the key to their own business.
As far as the conference race, there are a lot of great teams in this conference, and our goal at the beginning of this season was to play in the conference championship game and have an opportunity to play. That's always going to be the goal, and we just gonna take it, one week at a time, one day at a time, and that starts today into our Tuesday's practice. Having a good week of prep this week, regardless of what we play, we just got to take it one day at a time, one game at a time to get to, the opportunity to, win 9 games. And then, hopefully something shakes out in this conference and we'll be able to have an opportunity to play in the conference championship game.
For a guy who's been here 6 years, the longest tenured player on this team, can you just tell me how this program has maybe evolved in the last 6 years that you've seen?
Oh man, I don't even know where to start. There's so many things that's changed and rusting, and at this university, a new president. We had a new equipment guy this year, Doobie. He's doing a great job for us. Coach Cumby even changed some of his ways. I've seen him evolve as a head coach. Sort of take a role, a back seat, and be more, as far as like both sides of the ball, offense and defense. So. It's been great, a great experience. I've seen a lot of things change here, and I like to say, like, this is probably one of the best teams that I've been a part of, this 2025 team, as far as, like, the togetherness and closeness of the team. Like, I know it's cliche, you know, teams always talk about, oh, I love this, I love my brother, I love my teammate, but I could really say, like, this team is, like, you can feel it. If you've ever been to, like, a practice, or, you know, if you come sit in a team meeting, you can feel the love with each other. You know, not everybody's best friends, but everybody has a relationship with each other, and that's something that's special and that I'll carry for the rest of my life. So, yeah.
Thanks for talking to us.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.